Сережа передвигает Opel.
Да, вспышку выключил, вспышку включил.
Извини, я не могла не отколоть.
Блять, этот оператор? Давай.
А зеленый-то что, не? Двигать больше не будете? Жулик.
Смотри, тот борт не цепанем, и не? Блин, ладно, о! Ну что, предложение есть тебе на палету, может,
На, снимай.
что, хорошо?
Нет.
Еще надо?
Еще. Еще. О!
Настройка оператора.
У меня самый лучший такие
Ну, они, главное, чтобы это... Тебе понравился? Набери, если... Жорик, ты срать охота тебе?
Sup guys, a short story about this car. A good friend of mine bought this car approximately 15 years ago, in particular this condition. So he tried to improve it, to do something, but he quit by the reason he didn't have enough time or something else. So now what we're gonna do is to try to start it, make an attempt, will it run? So now I'm gonna open up this hood, first time in the past 15 years. Oh, I see the cable doesn't work. Difficult already. I remember he mentioned it. It doesn't work somehow from inside. Oh, okay. Yep. So it's the first time someone looked inside in the past 15 years. The engine looks abandoned and forgotten. It's obvious no one was here for such a long period of time. So a couple of words about this engine. It's 6 in line. It has a volume of 2.5 liters according to metric system and something like 153 cubical inches according to crazy imperial system. It has enough oil and it's pretty clean. So a good friend of mine, you saw him in a previous episode, told me that he already has changed oil that time in 15 years ago. So it has a new oil. It's not new, it's clean, but it already has a 15 years. So now I'm not gonna change it because the level is okay, oil is clean. So now I'll try to crank it. Maybe it's even frozen, who knows. Oh, it's very tough. Really, it doesn't want to. Oh no, it cranks. Okay, it is not frozen. It's good. Engine isn't stuck. So at the very beginning I'm going to clean it with the compressed air to remove all this disaster because I'm going to undo the spark plugs and so on. So let's get started. Since compressor is full, I'm going to fill up these tires. Let's check the distributor. Looks okay. Not serious problems. This system doesn't have points because it's electrical. It has a Hall sensor. It looks workable. It looks okay. Everything looks good. So I don't think I'll have to check the ignition wires distribution sequence now. If there's gonna be any issues later, I'll check them. Spark plugs look good. It looks like okay. It's dry. I can see any spots of oil. Yeah, the spark gap is okay on each one of them. Yeah, I think it's workable. So now I'm gonna make some sort of refreshing mix for him. I'm gonna take one portion of diesel fuel and mix it with oil. I'll pour it in each cylinder. Diesel and some oil. Refreshing. Delicious. So, since the engine is 6-cylinder, I can't align the pistons in the middle. It doesn't matter what the crank position is. One of the pistons will be in a top point and one of them is gonna be in a death point, in the bottom point. So it's unnecessary to turn it now. I'll just fill it with this delicious mix. Whoop. Seems like this one is in the top. No, uncomfortable. So I'll use this medical stuff. It's not that big and it's taking forever, but it's more comfortable. Yep. So the idea is to fill the cylinders with this mixture, with the volume that exceeds the combustion chamber volume. And then I'll turn the crank. I'll compress the liquid with force. It will create pressure and it will go through the pistons and rings, maybe flush them a little. Pistons and rings will be well lubricated. I think that's gonna do the trick. Pistons are now dry. The rings are dry. 15 years of nothing. So it's a good idea to fill it with this treatment mix. Direct injection engine. I'm gonna twist it a little with my hands. So it's gonna lubricate a little bit before I'm gonna screw in the spark plugs back. Anyway, I'm curious what's gonna happen. Oh, it turns pretty well. Yep, it turns okay. Yep, alright. A bit backward. This engine can be turned backward. No problem. It's not TCI. It's okay with it. It has a chain like an S-minutes anchor. Bit right and bit left. Right. A bit left. Yeah, it turns okay. Really easy. So maybe I'll change my mind and I'm not gonna compress the liquid through the rings. Yeah, it's useful, it's a working method. This method works okay. I've already done it before. But now I see it's okay, it's liquided. It's well greased. Yeah. It's greased okay. I think not enough in the 5th and 6th. Maybe I'll add it now a little. Anyway, it's not gonna be worse for him. I'm really curious, is it gonna run? My friend told me before he made an attempt to start it 15 years ago, but he wasn't succeed. Some issues with electrical, he said. So I can see the engine, the control unit is in the engine bay. So I'm not an electrical, and if something of this is broken, I don't know what to do with it. Okay, it's all later. Now the mechanical part. The best battery I found. The best charger. All other batteries I have are empty, unfortunately. Okay, let's make an attempt just to crank it. Oh, by the way, is it something here? Well, I have some bubbles, but I have something to add. Okay, now it's good level. Oh, it's full. It has no leaks. Amazing. It still looks rusty, but who knows. Let's make an attempt to crank it. It cranks. Great. I can be mistaken, but I thought that I heard some sparks. Maybe it even has a sparks. I gotta clean all this mess. I have to clean all this mess now. Back the spark plugs. It is wet, of course, but I think it's okay. It's not wet, it's lubricated, right? I forgot to remove ignition connector. It's unsafe. It could create flame. Don't repeat it this way. Don't forget to remove the ignition positive wire. I'll just lock it. Some sort of degreaser or a paint thinner could be okay, since I don't have anything else. Why not? Better than nothing. And a little here. Battery back. Okay, let's have a try. I need a NAS battery. Okay. That's better. Now it cranks. I need some gasoline. Battery number 3. It's a battery initially from Hyundai Solaris. So since this car doesn't have fuel lines, it's cutted. It doesn't have a fuel pump. So all I'm gonna do now is just to try to inject some gasoline directly into the intake manifold and see if it sparks. I also don't have an auxiliary fuel pump to connect it directly from the canister, and the fuel lines are cutted. Fuel tank is empty and the primary fuel pump doesn't connect. So the only way now is to inject directly into the manifold. Oh, Jesus Christ. What's going on here? It's gonna be enough for this engine volume. Let's try. Okay, if now it's gonna be no results, taking off the spark plugs. Okay, checking the spark. Spark plugs are completely dry. Okay. Now let's check if it sparks. Okay, it's good. So you see, I mixed it with air. This injector I mixed with air to let it evaporate. More efficiency, more efficient evaporation. Okay, it works. It has compression, it has spark, and it works. It starts. So now the next step is to install the fuel lines or make some kind of auxiliary fuel pump to let the fuel ramp and injectors feed from the canister. Let's try one more time. I enjoy it. More fuel, double volume. Okay, I'll just let it sample the fuel left here, and I think that's it for today. Next video I'm gonna make the fuel lines, the fuel pump, and make it run okay, the way it has to be. Very nice. Valves, push rods, don't knocking. is good. It's a good sign. Also, oil pressure indicator turns off immediately, so it builds an oil pressure. I'm more and more happy with this car. Some sort of air filter. Ah, it works. So guys, what we found today, it has a compression, it has a spark, timing is okay, it doesn't have any oil, coolant and other leaks. It starts, it works, it's perfect, it doesn't even knock in, which I'm surprised. It doesn't have a fuel lines because they were cut it. It doesn't have a fuel pump. It has a fuel tank, but it's empty. I don't know what's inside. I think there's a lot of corrosion. It's corroded very strongly. So what's gonna be in the next video? I think I'm gonna install the fuel lines and the auxiliary fuel pump and try to start it from the, maybe initially from canister, but later from the fuel tank. It also has a lot of other different problems. For instance, the gearbox mount is broken. It doesn't have brakes. So, but the primary problem is the fuel lines, fuel pump. So I think that is for today. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next video.